looks like it has meringue eyeballs.
It does. Is it soft on the inside like a brownie?
It is.
Amy said that it looks like it has meringue eyeballs. Little eyes.
Well, hello, everyone. Happy 2026. Some of you I haven't seen yet this year. In fact, I said, where has everyone been? And they said, well, the fog. Stay inside. I said, well, somehow I keep dragging myself out of the house. It's amazing what you'll do for a paycheck. Just kidding. Just kidding. All right. How many of you, is this your first time joining What's Brewing? We've got 1, 2, welcome, 3. Thank you so much for joining. This meeting, of course, is an informal get-together. Believe it or not, it started in our club room with probably 12 or 15, I think just ladies in the beginning, with some teacups and some gossip. And before you knew it, we started offering more than tea, grew to about 30 out there. And from suggestions received, we thought, why don't we bring it in here and we can sit down with a table and we can hear you and we can see you and we can film for those that don't make it out. And here we are, almost a full holiday theater. So more than anything, I typically come and share kind of groundbreaking updates or stir the pot a little bit and let us vent out some of our frustrations. Sometimes that looks like talking about Xfinity, or whatever is upsetting us at the time. That'll do it. But I know just for quick updates, the last thing I shared that would probably be of curiosity to most of you in the room was that TSJG will be going from Morrison Dining, which is contracted dining, to Human Good Self-Op, which means we will employ the 5 or 6 team members that are currently employed by by Morrison, and we will be moving away from contracted dining and start designing a dining program around what our communities want and need. Because a lot of what we hear is, if there was anything that we could do better at Human Good, it was to figure out what's going on with the food. And that's valid feedback. I think that's something that we all enjoy in every day. We're all disappointed if it's not, to our liking. And I think there's area of opportunity with food in general. And Human Good is, I think, at its core, really hoping to find out at each community what our residents are really wanting and be able to implement a program that can deliver on those requests to the best of our ability. So in saying that, we, of course, announced that Morrison had been notified. Our team members have since sat down and talked to me and talked to Daniel Williams, our Vice President of Hospitality. And all of them but one have decided to stay with Human Good. Our Chef Luis, who moved here with Morrison, will actually not stay with us, but be moving along into another opportunity. If I'm being honest, I suspected that would be the case since he did travel to Fresno with that company. It made sense to me that he would stay with them for those opportunities that they could provide him. And as much bad as we could probably say about Morrison if we really thought about it, the truth is they're very well versed and they're global when it comes to culinary and what they offer. So for someone like Chef Luis who wants to grow, who wants to teach, who wants to travel, that is going to be the best opportunity for him. So at this point, we don't know when we will lose Chef. We do have Morrison contract through through the very last day of April. As of May 1st, we will go self-op. But the truth is, at any point, he could receive an offer in another place and be leaving us with very little notice. So we are working behind the scenes to prepare and make sure that their entire back of house team is prepared for what that responsibility will look like if Chef does leave sooner. And if you've been here a while, we've done this before. We've been without an executive chef. We are going to be okay. We really do have a fabulous back of house team. Many of them have been with us for a very long time. They know how to order food. They know how to continue menus. They know how to deliver on what we've been doing. So we should not feel too much of a disappointment in that change until we can fully stabilize with a new chef. So while we're on the topic, is there anything you want to say or ask about food or about our culinary program that now would be the right time to bring it up? Yeah. I'll bring you the microphone. Even though you won't be recorded, they could hear your question.
Okay. I just wondered if that means you're going to be using local produce and what have you, rather than a company like Morrison.
Do you want me to answer? That has been the number one request since we brought Morrison in. It was how do we get local produce? We're right here in the Central Valley. We should be able to get it. And there's been a number of responses received. I have been here in this room when that was being shared. And what the rule of thumb is it's a certain mile radius, like 200 miles away, and that's considered local. What I learned just recently, and you may have all known this, but for me, it was new. That means 200 miles from the distributing manufacturer. That does not mean from your community. So I brought this up to Daniel as he was here, and I shared with him, there are some things that if we didn't overhaul everything at once and we could focus on really satisfying the request, it's how do we get Wawona peaches? How do we get Fresno State corn? How do we get things that are truly in our backyard to our community? And there was a gentleman with him. There were two men that day, and one said, it's not going to be a problem. We are going to get local produce. So what I want to do, because again, I'm not going to be the person that stands up here and promises you that it's going to be Fresno State corn or Wawona peaches, but I've expressed to him our desire to truly source local where we can. There are parameters around what local means, and we do have to go, because of our license with the state, we do have to go through a process of getting those vendors approved. But that is not the challenge, which has always been the response that we've received, at least in my time, saying, well, why are we not getting new vendors, the ones that we can tell you the names of or the farms that we know of? Apparently, there's some legwork involved in getting those approved, but Human Good is committed to doing that. Yeah.
Are there any other of our communities using Human Good dining now?
Quick answer is yes. You would have heard about Judson Park not that long ago, that is up in Seattle area, that converted from Morrison Dining to Human Good Self-Op. And then there were two Boston communities that did not have Morrison, but did have a contracted dining service. It was a different company that got away from that contracted service and is Human Good Dining. Boston? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Additionally, Boise, our Terraces of Boise community, has remained self-op. And Terraces of Summit View, which is up in Washington as well, is self-op. So yes, we do have communities doing it. Terraces of Summit View and Boise have always been self-op. The Boston communities, although not with Morrison, converted. And the only one that's most relatable is going to be Judson Park, which had Morrison Dining previously. An Abhow community has went to self-op. They probably had the biggest challenge, which is why we're doing it the way we're doing it now. They announced it, and there wasn't a lot of time before it occurred, and there was a lot of disruption because they lost key players on their team, which makes for a real challenge when you're trying to serve food to people, right? If you don't have a team. Going forward, as of early January, they made the announcement to Morrison and said, look, this year, 7 communities are going to go self-op, and these are the 7. And here's the dates in which we have planned for them to go self-op. So there's been a lot of communication. As much as that's great, because we all know and we can talk about it, I was sharing with Amanda the other day, it's kind of like a really long breakup. It's hypothetically, it's great. Like, we gave you lots of notice, but then it's like, just kind of waiting it out. And the reason I say that is I am just going to be honest. It's really hard for Chef, I have to imagine, and I'm speaking for him, but to give us 100% while he's also job searching and thinking about relocation, right? So we're not going to get 100% of him. And that's just the reality. Where I find it would have been so much easier if once the decision was made, then there's kind of a final date. We get you until this date, and then we can all plan and kind of create the system around that date, where that's not happening right now. But again, our feedback for the next community and the next community will only continue making the process smoother.
I imagine because they're married, that we would lose our excellent concierge, Rossi, also.
Just to restate, she said, because Rossi, our excellent concierge, is married to Chef, does that mean we lose her too? I mean, I guess it's up for question. She really loves him and she wants to go with him. No. Yes, that does mean it. So they were both very forthcoming. As soon as Chef made his decision, Rossi met with Joe. So, again, that's kind of up in the air. If he gets a part-time kind of gig in the interim, she may stay in Fresno and we may get her beyond the May date. But they've both been very communicative with us and try to be as transparent as possible. So the good news is that we have noticed, right? We know that she too would be moving along. So talking to team members who are interested in that or opening that position when we can. Yep, it's a twofer, unfortunately. Any other questions or comments about food? Unless you're changing the topic, and you're welcome to do that as well. It's like Uno. If you lay down a different color, we can go a different direction.
What is the feedback from the place in Seattle that has gone self-operating? What is?
Resident feedback has been great across the board. Very, very happy. Team members had a little bit of a stressful ordeal because it was a bit chaotic in terms of they announced it and it was kind of like the rug was pulled very quickly. So we learned from that, of course, but their feedback was, I wish we had more communication and a little bit more planning. I think about human good as the scaffolding. Human good dining is the scaffolding, right? It's holding everything up, and then the community itself is, operating and providing dining services. So having the structure in place, the procurement plan for food and the percentages around standards and menu cycling and things that Morrison does that you all don't even need to know or care to know, Human Good is going to build out that scaffolding. And when they did it with Judson Park, they were learning as they did it. There are still things that they're putting in place, but by the time we see it happen in May, there'll be a lot of preliminary work done. So our experience should be much smoother. But resident satisfaction has been extraordinary. And I do stay in touch with their executive director, Jonathan, who has been very honest and very forthcoming. Because naturally, when our name was one of the 7, the first thing I did was reach out to Jonathan and tell me that this is going to be a good thing. Tell me what you've experienced. Tell me what was good, what was bad. Tell me the questions I should be asking. So he's been very helpful in that process. But I'm excited. I hope you're excited too, honestly. I really am. I talk with Amanda about just the idea of how many times, residents come to her, and obviously she leads with, how do I say yes? How do I fulfill on that? How do I make sure I give you what you want? But really to have not just operating and here's the parameters, but define our parameters. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the grocery items. Let's talk about the fruit. Let's talk about the menu cycling. Let's talk about the service in the dining rooms. That's ours now. We're not going to have an outside company saying, this is what we think senior living should have, right? It's us. We are the experts in that. So if you've heard me say anything about transition, I too have been part of transition in the sales team. I've shared with many of you. Our marketing also has went through a transition over the years. And when your company has a culture and expectations that they want to deliver certain standards and quality to their resident, it doesn't always translate when another company is expected to do that. I can tell Morrison, this is our expectations. But it's kind of lost in translation versus me stand up in front of you and say, no, we're doing this. It's ours and we're doing this. You have more control over the the outcome and the satisfaction. So I'm very excited. There's a lot of behind the scenes work, but hopefully you'll feel very little. In the meantime, if you did see the Tribune a few weeks ago, favorite recipes. If you have those favorite recipes, you see them come across Bronza's buffet, or you've experienced just a dish that you really enjoyed, please let Amanda know right away, because we are building out kind of those legacy items that we know our residents like, that we don't want to see go away if we transition with a different menu. JC? Oh, okay. I read your mind. How many of you have been out by the art studio? Hey, there's color. There's color. It is looking good. We have, let me see, I saw this morning because I was talking to Brian, different inspections. So mechanical and plumbing inspections are planned for tomorrow, which then will allow us to do electrical inspections by end of week. And then once we get approval with electrical, it'll lead to plywood, sheetrock, insulation. And that's really where you have the bulk of the building. And then from there, millwork, which is the cabinetry, he said it's about 3 weeks out. I'm saying, because conservatively, I'm saying mid-March. Brian's saying first week of March. So I always give a buffer. Because what I do know will happen is like rain and everything else. So even though it shouldn't affect the inside of the building, somehow they'll tell us it affects the inside of the building. So we're still striving. I'm still striving for first quarter. I know Brian really wanted to see us do December 31st, but pretty much we saw them disappear over the holidays. There was not a lot of work going on, understandably, but not excitedly. So I think the AC gentleman was gone for 2 weeks. I'm like, he doesn't get a vacation. We're paying this guy. He should be here. Apparently during the holidays, people take time off. Any questions or thoughts about Art Studio? No, it's okay. No, I just want to know if we're staying on track.
The future of the bistro, do we have an idea?
Yes. I actually just got off of a call. How many of you knew that this year we are remodeling the bistro? Okay, good. I just want to make sure we're all talking the same language. So bistro opened 2009, and since then has received, I would say, a little bit of lipstick. That's about it. Not much else has happened there. So it is in desperate need. It's one of our highest used areas on campus, and it's also heavily used by marketing, right? So that's where you take everyone to lunch and you show off the place. And that's where you all go pretty much daily, if not with friends and family, but with your neighbors. We have outgrown the space many times over. And when we introduced Sandy several years ago, she's been working on like a 6-foot slot of countertop. That's about it. And a single oven over there. So for her needs alone, we really do need to revisit. But interestingly enough, we are able to redesign the function of the back of house, where we can incorporate more cooling storage, more actual pantry storage. There's a lot of things that you see that get delivered and then they're forced over by loads to get it over there because you can't keep it there for long periods of time. The preliminary design, we were on a call today, me, Brian, Amanda, we invited Silvano and Juan. Those are the two gentlemen that are behind the scenes. How many of you know Juan and Silvano? Only a few of you. Juan has been with us for 13 years. He is a Morrison team member, but previously a Human Good team member. He's only been with Morrison for a year, so he's very excited to transition back. Silvano's been with us just over a year, and he is really the face of all the bistro specials that we've been enjoying. These two guys are just in tandem, really, really good together. A lot of knowledge. And we invited them to the call because our very first call, we had Chef Louise on, and he had feedback and suggestions, but he's not going to be with us when it comes to fruition. So we started introducing some of the folks that will be. So they were able to expand our dish pit, expand Sandy's prep and cook area at least 2.5 times what she's working with now. additional dry storage, as well as dishes and container storage. In terms of the cooking space, everything will be reconfigured. On Friday, we will have a call where we'll kind of say, okay, here's everything that you guys have asked for, and start putting framework. So by our next big meeting like this, I'll be able to show you a preliminary design. We will expand bistro, so the main door will be moving over to create a space to minimize that congestion where you walk in and you're in the line for the food ordering. So by moving it, the entry point over, the ordering is separate. And then expanding north, not walls, but seating. So outdoor seating that is properly covered and able to use that space more than we are now in terms of the proper covering and cooling and warming and all of that. And that will also expand seating where currently there's bushes on the corner. So that whole front of bistro will be outdoor seating, at least preliminarily, and then be moving the door and pushing the door closest to the pool out a little bit as far as fire will allow us to, because you have to have a certain distance there. So really trying to grow in inches where we can on the inside. But most of it is going to be driven by the function of the kitchen and the storage and the cleaning that happens because of the amount of food we produce.
Has there been any thought about finding a way to park the walkers, like some sort of little cove of some kind, and for folks that can make it on their own from the walker to their table? This morning we had a near crisis. One of the servers, the table next to me, almost tripped on a walker, carrying an arm full of dirty plates. And I think it could be pretty messy. It's a pretty risk for that. So I was wondering if there's a possibility of having a nook or some sort of a place that would be easy for them to park them.
Thank you. And just to be clear, that your request is to have it inside nook, not the outside by the door. Okay. I don't think that has been considered, just from what I remember seeing and talking about today. I think it's important, but I would also encourage residents to find the importance in it, because we do have that designed here and we still have a challenge getting people to park when they're able to. So I think it's a little bit of creating this space and then creating a culture where if you can, then it's appreciated for safety and hazard issues.
Well, for a while you were doing that valet, which made it safer in the main dining room. Maybe we could do that there too.
I will tell you, the failure of valet comes down to partnership with the residents. That's just an honest response. We have a lot of resistance. And I think there's two sides of it. And I'm speaking, I keep coming here just so if we're recording, we can share. But it is, you're not expected, for instance, with Speranza, to leave your walker at the door and walk in. We understand that going through the line, standing for a long period of time, getting your food and then getting it to the table, you need the walker. But our request has been, as always, is then if the server can ask you to take that walker and move it outside and provide you a ticket, and any point you're ready to go, to flag them down and ask for it right back. The resistance has been with giving that walker up when you're at the table. So team members, because it has gotten to the point where they went and actually complained, like HR issues of residents are not very friendly about it. They've been told no, they don't feel comfortable asking anymore, that we finally kind of got to the point where it's like, we started it because it was a resident request for safety. And it's obviously a benefit to have clear walkways, but we need partnership in that. So I am all on board with reintroducing it and maybe even working with a few residents to make it different if that system was not friendly to our residents. But I will say it's going to require some partnership. It's not going to just be administration putting a little caddy area for carts.
One thing, and I guess this is my advantage of having a little one that folds up. A lot of the newer ones will fold sideways. Depends on how how they're configured. I don't think I've ever seen anybody fold it. They just pull it up and set it next to thing and it takes up the same space that a chair would. So if you don't have 15 pounds of stuff in your bag, in your walker, and you can fold it, it takes up, a third of the space. And, I don't feel guilty for bringing mine in because I can fold it up and put it between the chair and the wall. And a lot of other people could do that, but they never think of it, or they have too much stuff and they can't do it. And the ones, I'm not talking about there's the other ones that fold differently. The flat fold ones don't really work, but a lot of the newer ones will fold, and I've never seen anybody do it. So I think that would be a real convenience for people, because if you're walking by, they are big, they take up a lot of room, and they're dangerous, so people can trip on them. But if you can just pull up the seat and fold it and set it aside, it's not that big an issue.
I do see both sides. I had someone say if I wanted instantly to get out, or there was a fire and, I need to, I understand the other side of having that's your independence. But I think if we're talking in general, we're growing, the dining room is becoming kind of one of the busiest places on campus now, especially if you're there on a Tuesday for some reason. I just noticed Tuesdays are crazy in Speranza. Either utilizing the little, there's actually a name for that space. What is it called? Coat room is a good name for it, but it has a name. It's losing me. No, they've named it like a funny name, like Cart Corner or something like that. It's better than that though. Now it's Amigo something, Amigo parking. No one noticed. See, it's not on the map. Amigo parking. But I agree. I think if you can fold it, but then again, it really does. It kind of comes down to, I walk up to Elaine and say, Miss Johnson, can I take your walker? And oh no, I'm going to fold my walker. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. And you walk away, and then she doesn't fold the walker. Like, does the team member feel empowered to go back and say, now you said you were going to fold your walker, fold it up right now while I watch you? So it does put them in a predicament. So sometimes it's just like, if I can take it out of your way and you holler at me, I'll bring it right back. I know they would, they would, but for some reason there is a little bit of resistance. So we're talking about it today, so you know that we're full. If you can and are willing to park it in the Amigo parking lot, please do. And thank you, Phil, for bringing up a really good point, because as we design a bistro that's going to be busier than ever, because it's going to be beautiful, to consider that so we can have that space there too.
I have been asked, while you're talking about the bistro, I wonder if you've considered some signage outside that says this is the bistro, so guests know where to come. It's hard for people to explain where the bistro is.
You got buzz from that comment, Elaine. Well, what I will tell you, even though I might not put a sign out that says bistro with a flasher, you're not going to miss it when you see the entire awning and outdoor seating area. So we can always add signage, but I will tell you right now, I think what most people do is say on the main boulevard where the patio umbrellas are, or the patio seating, I think the umbrellas are the kind of the indicator, but we can always add bistro if we need to. Any thoughts or comments about bistro? Thank you for asking about that, Carolyn, because that was top of mind for me today, and I didn't even think I should have announced that before I did the Morrison stuff. What else is happening? Are you guys doing Follow Your Good Challenge? Anyone doing it? I saw that we came in 4th place with 76 responses for week 1. So, we like to win here. Speaking for a friend. Less than 2 minutes, Amy said. Oh, she's timed it. Do you have another one?
You're allowed. No one else is talking to you, Elaine.
I think these promotions, like this current one, whatever the name is, something good, didn't get enough PR ahead of time. I think there needs to be hey guys, we're going to do this. Let's get excited, or whatever you do to say, because it's brand new and it just sort of like, oh, da, 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 da.
I appreciate the feedback. I will tell you, this is not a TSJG event only. It is a human good event. A lot of the publicity, if you should have come through our lifestyle enrichment, which is Joe and Quincy and Lance and Cubigo and Garden News and Tribune. And then also our committee members. We have our ESAC committee. We have our Human Good Dining Committee, Dining Advisory Committee. I have Raise for Innovation. So these folks at forums and councils, possibly, if we would have known ahead of time, gotten ahead and said it a little bit more. That is the challenge with things that come from human good, because they're at this level trying to get it down. And if there's not enough notice, it's hard for us to tackle every avenue of communication. But I like the feedback, so thank you for that. Follow Your Good is a way for us to introduce to our communities the partnerships and the collaboration that we have among these human good committees. Committees that you might not know anything about or ever be involved in, but we have residents here in this room that sit on these committees, that get to sit at a meeting with a group with various representatives from other communities and talk about things that I think you all think are very important, from self-op dining or dining overall to sustainability and recycling and efficiencies, to innovative ideas or technologies inside of our communities. And there's other things. So it's not just left to the administration at the community, but it's residents in communities like ours talking amongst themselves, saying, we're doing it like this. How about you? Or we introduced this. What do you think? So we can be better together. So this kind of fun few weeks is meant to introduce a topic, sponsor a committee is sponsoring it, so it's introducing you to these committees. So going into 2026, there is more communication and more understanding of kind of that greater impact or that connection that we have. It's not just what's happening here in Fresno, although that's all we care about. I know that. But I will say, and I keep looking over here because a few of you are sitting in those committees, we really are the best, right? I mean, we're kind of showing them what's going on with everything. We really have a wonderful group of residents that are sharing and advocating and exploring things within human good and other communities. So more to come on that. Thank you. We can do better on those big events or activities. If you don't know about it, stick around. It's a very simple thing. Each week there will be a topic which is being sponsored by one of those committees. You read something or watch something very quick and brief, and then you respond. And the responses, why they're important, is the survey is gaining or collecting feedback from residents at any community within any level, including team members. So if someone says, what have you done or what have you introduced that would be innovative in your community? And we've done something really great here, or something that I wish we would do, but no one's getting behind it. Giving that to people outside of this place that can help us or ask more questions is just going to make us better, really. That's really what it comes down to. Even though I know it's very hard because we are great. But it is nice. It's nice to throw your ideas out or even sing praises. I mean, there's been things that we've done really well that I'm bragging about because I want them to say, what do you mean you did this at TSJG? And I'll say, well, let me tell you. Let me tell you about us, how great we are. So stick around if you don't know. The Follow Your Good Challenge, it'll go on for, is it 5 weeks or 6? 5 or 6. 5 weeks. And we are in week 2. The good news is if you didn't participate in week 1, the survey link is good all the way through until the very end of week 5. So you can go back and answer your question for week 1 and we still get credit for it. Although it's about winning, it is also about your great feedback and your ideas. So please look at it that way. It's a nice way for you to share insight if you have something on the topic. What else? What's shaking? What's going on? What's the gossip? Anything good? Do we fall back to Xfinity? I always can warm up a crowd with that. No, we're over it. 2026, new us. We're not talking about them anymore. No, nothing. Any questions for me? Nothing. Thank you, Bonnie.
I heard a rumor that the courtyard in Milano would be revamped sometime this year. What's happening?
Thank you. The good news is all 3 courtyards are going to get revamped. We put a significant chunk of change of our capital project money aside for that. I saw a conversation via email between the landscape company that we are outsourcing and Brian, just trying to coordinate dates. The idea, at least from my remembering of our walk, is that our south courtyard facing the doctor's office needs the biggest overhaul. Raised planters that have become lantana gravesites. It's not even live lantana. I didn't even know you could kill that stuff. But there's some dead ones in there. So the south courtyard will really probably get the largest overhaul. And then we have some irrigation needs on our east. A lot of that landscape is the right landscape. It's just a matter of getting the right water supply there and some minor updates. And then our north courtyard, a little bit more shade tolerant. There's some fern and ground cover there that's pretty sparse. So reintroducing the right ground cover and also some irrigation concerns there. So we do plan on doing it. If I'm remembering from my notes with Brian, it cannot go too far into the second quarter because of weather. So I do believe you'll start to see and hear more about it once they nail down some dates around the landscapers' availability. Are we going to keep the citrus trees? Do you want me to keep the citrus trees? Yes? Oranges are delicious. I will make sure they know that. I don't know exactly what was planned over there. The lantana was really my thing. I was like, oh my gosh, this is disgusting. Disgusting. Rip it all out. So we want the oranges to stay, I hear. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they were pretty, and not that we can't understand it, but what's there? Yes. If I'm not mistaken, the oranges are up against the building. Is that right? They're not in that center planter. They're the ones up against the Milano. Okay.
6 or 7 years ago, when AJ was here, he and I were trying to get some lawn that we could play bocce ball on or croquet, or he wanted to do Tai Chi and stuff like that. Instead, we got a little mini thing down on the end. But Jessica told us at that time that we couldn't use that area next to Antonella that's next to the parking. When you first come in, that it was designated for future parking. All these years, and we're having parking problems. I wonder why, if that's being considered. You could add a parking lot there.
Add a parking lot where?
Right next to the other parking lot, when you first come in the gate, there's a parking lot. Right between Tivoli and Antonella. There's some brush, some plants and things. And she said that was designated for future parking. We couldn't use it for a park.
I'm not going to, I have no idea what she had in plans, and she's been gone a while. So if I asked her, she probably doesn't even know what she had in plans. I have not discussed future parking in that location at all. Like even through our asphalt project, even through solar, when things were getting dug up. So, I mean, if the question is, are we going to add additional parking between the Tivoli parking lot and Antonella? My first response is definitely not this year. There's been zero conversation about it and zero funding set aside for it. Now, if that's something that we are, as a community, saying there's some desperate need and we need to develop, then it's a matter of having Brian work with fire and the city to come out to get any kind of specs to know if that's even a possibility. Because you have a crosswalk there and you've got building clearance and there's stuff that are just bigger than me in general. But I have not heard that. Oh. So we're more upset that it's not the park. We want the green. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Thank you. You're not going to get away from the Milano Gardens that easily, Alexis. So you told us that you would involve residents when the time came. So I'm hoping you're still planning to do that. In the South Garden, it's not just the orange trees. The tree trimmer, in my view, does not know how to trim trees. Trim trees. So I think if Brian could take that in hand, the olive trees were just butchered this year at the wrong time of year. And the orange trees, I guess, I don't remember what happened with them, but I think if Brian could give the tree trimmers a little bit more hint of how to artfully trim the trees, that would help. And then also if you would involve residents, maybe through our representatives, when the time comes to actually look at the landscape.
So I'll first address residents. And yes, once we get landscapers availability, the idea is to invite residents who want to give input. So that is happening. In response to tree trimmers, I don't want Brian to tell them how to tree trim. But do you know who trimmed the olive trees that because we've used different ones and they are arborists here in Fresno. So I want to make sure that if there's a certain one that's butchering the trees, that we maybe go in a different direction.
Well, my wife has definite ideas about
Okay.
it. You don't want to have her do that. I don't know of an arborist, but finding a good arborist is the key. Somebody who knows trees and knows when and how to trim them for their own health and to not leave them. I have pictures of the olive trees right after they were trimmed, and everybody just went out and I don't think the current trimmers know what to do with those trees.
With those specific
So
trees.
maybe we could find an arborist who has skill in that direction. Keep the tree trimmers. I guess you have contract with them or you hire them. They're fine for certain things, but not for those trees.
More ornamental trees.
Our local groundskeeper people doing some of the just trying to keep up on general trimming, that could be the problem because they would not need trees.
Got it. So we're just making reference that if it weren't the arborist, but outside of that, our own guys doing kind of ongoing trimming and maintenance, maybe incorrectly cutting and damaging or cutting back. Yes. Okay. That's good feedback. You had a third one. You said trees, resident involvement. I thought there was one more. Maybe those were the two. Okay. Yes. Are there any in the room now that I can have Amy make note of names specifically, because we're on the topic, that live in Milano that would like to share input with our landscapers? Bonnie Clark, Ellen, Mr. McMenamin. I'm sorry. That's just what's forged. She has it. She said thumbs up. Yeah. You have Jackie's name too, right? Yeah. I thought she said yes. All right. Al Workington. We just keep throwing his name out there. He's a master gardener. Can you put Al Workington down as well? We'll see if he has time for us. He's a busy man.
Camellias do very well in moderate shade, but in the soil type we have here, they need iron or they're not going to do anything. Some of our present plantings definitely need iron. So, but for North Milano and in Piazza, both could use camellias, and the shade is right for them.
I agree with that. Thank you. All right. Anyone else talking landscape? Because Brian's in the doorway. Now's our time. Oh, gosh. He's like, she spotted me. She's going to put me to work. All right. We've covered Morrison, Bistro, Art Studio, Milano Courtyards. No gossip. No real good gossip. Of course, about gossip?
This is about Milano
Oh.
and orange trees. No,
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
no, this is a question. I shouldn't give this away, I guess. But I pick some of those oranges in your wonderful courtyard, but I could probably kill myself doing it because I have to step over a little ledge. I am very careful and I have finished my picking, so don't worry about me. But they do seem to go to waste as the weeks go by. They're less and less desirable. They're perfect right now. But we don't want anybody killing themselves over that ledge.
What do you propose? So a resident would be a Milano orange picker, and then you can pass them out. Who wants to volunteer? We'll sign you up now. Who's got the perfect view to the orange trees that just can tell right when they're ripe? No one wants to volunteer. Well, we can't volunteer Elaine. She lives in Tuscany. She's not even supposed to be out there in those flower beds. She's just out there with her mask in the dark trying to steal them from you all. The question is, can we just have the gardeners? We're going to tell them you're not really good at trimming olive trees, but can you please go and pick our oranges? I don't know if that's the right message. Well, let's think about it. What's the window of time for when oranges should be picked in the Milano courtyard? Does anyone know what breed it is? That I don't know the right. Paul, help me out. You see me floundering. You never pick the oranges. Navel. Variety. They're a navel variety. Tell me the most stuff.
We used to live in Lindsay, which was an orange town. And orange trees bloom in April. The oranges should be off the trees before the blooms come on. That's all.
Our oranges weren't ready until late February, early March.
Okay.
And there were blossoms getting ready to pop.
So I feel like this could be the challenge. We don't know when they're ready, but they might be ready. We want them to stay there, but they're too dangerous to pick. Do you see what I'm dealing with? This is the challenge. If I commit to leaving the oranges, then you guys commit to maintaining the oranges, and then I feel like we're in a good place. We'll talk more about it. There's more time. But if I learned anything from this conversation, there are oranges that are really good in the Milano South courtyard. Make sure you go, be very careful, bring a friend and your pendant, please, because they're dangerous. Yeah. All right. I'm making light of something that I'm just being silly about, but I know we want the oranges. It does sound like if we could partner with Brian's team to get them out or find residents that are watching them and monitoring them, where I have to admit our groundskeepers are not going to be paying attention to the right time of year to get them off and bring them to a common place. But maybe we can have some of you in the room or someone at home say, hey, I'd be willing to do that a couple of times during the season and make sure they're not going to waste. Otherwise, I'm pulling those trees out of there. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. All right. Joe, did you have an announcement? You came in. I thought maybe you had good gossip. Oh, Sarah's back next Monday. Sarah is concierge. She's been out on maternity leave. She has a healthy baby girl who I see a few times now, and she cries a lot. Don't recommend one of those. Yeah, when Joe's holding her, that's when she cries. but she will be back. That's great. We were just talking that Rossi would likely be going because Chef's going. So it's nice to know that we'll have one of our team members back. All right. It's 5 minutes till. A lot of you did not bring your mug, right? Did I see Diane's? Let's see Diane's. I got to see one up here that I really, really like. What is, ooh, the Giants fan. Don't show that to Eddie. He'll walk away with it. Let's see. Limited edition, vintage 1941. A legend was born. 1941? It was a great year, I hear. What does Harriet have? I have to see. I just like to share them with the room. What do you have there? Oh, February 13, 2026. This is a new great-grandbaby? That is, what a cute announcement to put the ultrasound with the due date on it. It's like a little alien. It's so cute. Right? Boy or girl? Do we know a name? They haven't told you? It's, okay.
They call her Clumpy
Clumpy.
because
I get that from the picture.
when they showed her the sonogram at first, my granddaughter's husband said it looks like a clump.
Is this their first?
Yes.
Her granddaughter's first. And the husband sees the ultrasound for the first time and he goes, oh, it looks clumpy. No. That's awesome.
This was a moving in gift because they sent it here before we moved in.
Oh.
And it sat on the kitchen counter for a couple of
Unopened.
we were moving in.
Did you hear that?
She finally called and said, did you open the package yet?
So they're moving here, and the granddaughter thought it would be, wouldn't it be nice to surprise them with the moving in gift? So she sends this little package over. They're busy unpacking, just trying to survive the move in. And the package sits on the counter for a few days. Finally, the granddaughter calls and says, have you opened that package yet? Like it's really important, and they're blowing it off. And then she opens it up, and it's the ultrasound picture. What a fun, look, they thought it out and everything and got it to you here early. I love that. There's a few over here. Let's see what we're working with. Carol, you have a Star of Bethlehem. I love the colors. That's very Carol, if they haven't told you. All the pretty purples and... That's beautiful.
I have a different cup for
Every year. Well, don't say it like it's nothing. That's beautiful. This is just from Poland. No big deal. It's just from Poland. Anybody else? Shirley, what do you have? Is this the house? The mountain house? Let's see. Oh, half of it's summertime. So if you guys have not got to see our place, none of us have except for a small group. We just get to dream about it. And then the backside is the snow at the house. That's very nice. And then, of course, the tipsy table. We love that one. I love it. Thank you guys for bringing your mugs. I have to tell you, I had a new mug and I left it on my kitchen counter. Although it's opened. It's not in a box still. So Amy always goes out and picks up a little treat or something sweet, and I have to give it to Clumpy because that's just the cutest gift ever. I just think your granddaughter was the sweetest. So here's some chocolates for you to enjoy. I'm glad she got you that. All right, I'll stick around for questions that you were too shy to ask or gossip that you don't want to share. Thank you for coming. I'm so happy to see everyone, and let's kick off 2026. All right, have a good day.